Am I live or am I live? What's up, guys? Happy Friday. And no one's watching. Perfect. How's everyone doing? Ooh, we got one person coming in. Let's see if someone else comes. Oh, now it's 0. We've been here before. Hopefully, some people do show up. If not, that's cool too. I could do it on my own. I've done solo videos before. So, if you are wondering why I went on live today, I wanted to check out course report, and specifically I wanted to review the course report reviews. I'm very curious because a lot of them have either 4.5 stars or 5 stars, so it is a little suspicious to me. Like, how do you know what's legit and what's not? So hopefully whoever comes in, you guys can ask me what school you guys want me to review, and then let's take a look at it together. So yeah, let's see. Hopefully more people show up. If not, then I could go on a monologue by myself and do some Q&As. I don't know. We'll see. But happy Friday, everyone. 2 minutes into the stream and we got exactly 1 viewer. So you are the lucky winner. How's my quality of the stream? I'm curious. Oh, good. At least it's in 1080p. That's good. I'm always concerned about that because it's just such a weird thing with live streaming these days. Oh, now we got 3 people on. Hey, everyone. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Just to give you context, I wanted to review the coding bootcamp reviews because a lot of the stuff that I see on course report has 4.5 stars, 5 stars. Like, it's kind of weird to me. So if you guys have any requests on what coding bootcamp you want me to review and just take a look at, we could look at the user reviews together, and I don't know, we'll just have fun with it. But yeah, this week was pretty tough. It was a rough week for me. Really long week, but I'm really glad it's winding down now and I get to enjoy the weekend. Maybe I'll go out tonight, who knows? But for now, yeah, I'm going to try to stream about an hour if I can, and hopefully keep you all entertained and see what we want to do. Yeah, exactly. They all have 4.5 stars. Look at this. This is not a good one. How do I do this? Like that? Yeah, let's do that. Like, all of it is featured, first of all. So you know they're getting paid for this. And apparently Colorado State has 4.5 stars, which I never even knew this bootcamp existed. So clicking on this, I mean, granted, it is, I don't know if you guys can see this, but let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. 10 reviews, 4.7 stars. So you know they're definitely promoting this bootcamp, and I don't know if people got paid for this or whatnot, but it's interesting. So apparently they do cybersecurity. I attended the bootcamp for a good 6 months. Completed all the modules, exercise. I provided the opportunity to ask. But none of them really talk about, did they get a job? I don't think so. Oh, this one has a 3 star. So maybe we could read this one. The program explains the basics and complexities of data science. And if you guys can't read this, I could just do this. Is that better? The program explains the basics and complexities of data science in interesting ways that allows you to under it easily. I'm almost a beginner with Python. My past attempts to learn data analysis with Python never worked, but everything was different with this course. We dug deep into every concept, the availability of virtual app. It would, we wouldn't have to do it. The curriculum covers everything one needs to strong. Yeah, it's this. I guess this is more of like a self one. Yeah, so actually, I'm gonna drop a video on New Camp maybe next week or next week, depending on how badly you guys want it. I will do it. I do like if you guys ever watch my ultimate coding bootcamp review on the Coder Foundry, it's gonna be something similar to that. I have a lot of opinions about New Camp, and I think what they're doing from a high level is pretty cool. Because at the end of the day, I think what Coding Bootcamp really does provide you is a opportunity to learn how to code, but learn how to code within a very, very controlled environment. So what that means is that you're paying that luxury tax or luxury fee. So to be around other people in the same situation as you, and then you could have instant feedback from your colleagues and teachers and whatnot to get that information quickly. What New Camp is kind of doing is it's taking out some parts of what a immersive coding bootcamp gives you in terms of that instant feedback from a teacher, but then it also provides you with that community. So you kind of go with a set of students. And in this case, from my research so far, you're in a cohort of like 11 to 12 students with one teacher. And the teacher isn't really a teacher. To me, the teacher feels more like a TA. And the TA gives you about 10 hours per week where he or she can answer your questions and give you feedback on any questions you might have during the week through Slack. And then they put heavy emphasis on Saturday for you to just really up your skills, have that kind of deep understanding with your instructor, and maybe you do a more complex lab. So yes, like self-taught can be cheaper where you're taking a Udemy course or whatnot, but you don't have that kind of cohort or community. But at the same time, but a coding bootcamp is also $15,000. So they take away some of that, live instructor teaching, availability of the TAs. Some costs have to be like cut. So it's this weird balance of having a community and also trying to provide coding value together that I think New Camp is trying to do. It's a pretty interesting concept, and I'm still kind of in the middle of my research on how I feel about certain parts of the curriculum, but we could definitely take a look. Oh my gosh, my face wasn't even showing. See, I'm not used to these live streams, guys. My bad. I'm like going into depth about this, and everyone's just looking at a New Camp screen, which is fine. We could totally figure this out. But does this do anything? All right. Sorry, guys. I'm just messing around with the controls. But yeah, I think New Camp has a lot of potential because it's kind of like a hybrid approach. It really is that part-time approach where they're trying to make things relatively affordable, but at the same time, make you accountable. Yes, I think that's kind of what it is. But at the same time, it's so hard to have a Slack community. Like Free Code Camp is awesome, and there is a Discord channel and whatnot, but not everybody's working at the same pace as you are, right? There's something about being able to gather 11 to 12 individuals together and saying like, this is your pack, and this is who you're going to be working with. So it's kind of this like accountability that you do have when you start your coding journey, which I think is very, very hard to replicate in a self-taught developer journey. And when you have questions, who do you talk to if you're not working with the same people around you, right? If you're just kind of doing it by yourself. And in some ways, at watching some of the interviews, the way the CEO describes it, he describes it as $1,000 or $2,000 is not as much as a intensive boot camp, which is 12 to 15 to 30,000. But you invest. There's some psychological aspect where you put some investment into yourself, saying, "I'm gonna put $2,000 to believe that I can change my life with this coding boot camp." And with this investment, it kind of makes yourself accountable. But if you take like a $10, $15 Udemy course, and someone's like, "Hey, let's go to a party," you'll be like, "Oh, I could just kind of do that later," right? So it's enough. It's not overwhelming in terms of the price where you feel like I'm gonna potentially go into debt. But at the same time, it's enough where you're like, yeah, this might hurt a little bit. So I want to make sure that I can uh, make sure I stay accountable each and every week. That's less than a semester. Yeah, exactly. So it's an interesting concept. I do like it because, especially because everything's kind of going virtual right now anyway with coding bootcamp. So why not take this opportunity to see if $2,000, if it's worth it? And if you end up not liking coding or it's just not your thing, then in some ways you didn't give up an arm and a leg. You didn't sign an ISA where you're stuck to paying some loan shark or whatever you want to call them $30,000 over 2 years. So I think that's really important. What up, DJ Norris? This live stream is for you because some people are not night owls like I am. Hologram, what's up? How are you doing? So yeah, I think let's look into this. I mean, we could just even go to their website. Actually, let's go to their courses because they have various different courses. The first one is their front-end web and mobile development. So this is just if you want to be a front-end developer and you could take this course. It's going to be $1,480, right? And the class size is 12. The second one is the full stack web and mobile application development. And that's going to be $1,880. And it's going to be 22 weeks. From my understanding is that you can initially sign up for a front-end course. And if you end up wanting to do full stack, then you can actually transition to the full stack development course. There's no such thing as, I have to start all over again. And if you can't, apparently, if they feel like you're not ready for the front-end developer course, then you have to take this 4-week web development fundamentals course, which I think is pretty interesting. It's $350. And in general, in terms of price, I really can't complain, right? This is the value is very good. I'm not gonna talk about the quality of the videos because from my understanding, the curriculum is taught through video lessons. So take that for what it's worth, right? Because if you want live teaching and whatnot, I don't think they could keep these prices that low. And that's kind of where the major costs are probably coming from. So during the week, you're kind of on your own and you can ask questions on Slack and whatnot within your cohort. But during the week, you're pretty much on your own. And then on Saturday, from my understanding, is kind of where you collaborate with your classmates and your teacher. So let's read some reviews here. I really wish there was a better way to filter these reviews because, like, how do I filter by, I don't know, most helpful? See, that's not good for me because I don't really, maybe we could just do this. Or no, actually, most recent. And one thing that I'm like kind of confused is everything is 5 stars, right? How does and I try to ignore some of these 5 stars one because it's just hard to tell whether what's going on here. So I think let's just read maybe this one, challenging, but you will learn. Maybe we can let's see. If I do this, will that be better? Cool. Right. I chose new camp for the affordability and flexibility of the schedule, and I'm pleased with my overall experience in the HTML, CSS, JavaScript fundamentals. Went into the class with zero experience, but I finished feeling like I have a decent understanding. Small exposure to JavaScript through a free app called Grasshopper. The course is deceptively simple and very elegant. It does not feel like you have a ton of work. Therefore, you don't feel dreaded overwhelmingness. I don't think that's an actual word, but anyway, once you get the lessons, you'll soon learn how to pack. You'll soon learn just how packed with the info they really are. Not a word is wasted in the video tutorial. See, yep, it's the video tutorials. I watched them several times to make myself fully comprehend. Typically, everything is writing below the videos, which is great if you learn by reading, which is good. I think not everyone can learn just through strictly video. Each video is 2 to 12 minutes. It's very well thought off, but you'll be using your brain, thinking a lot. You will not be spoon-fed every answer. The assignments require your full effort, and by applying, you will truly learn the material. Stay on top of the material. Don't fall behind. Catching up is possible, but not recommended. Why make it harder on yourself? Don't be shy. Your instructors is available. Yeah. So I think that's really important here. So I feel like this course is going to be pretty fast paced, to be honest. And if you kind of fall behind 1 week, it's going to be very tough. And since this is a part-time thing, you really got to kind of toe that fine line of, is this really part-time, or is this going to require more than a little bit? It's like part-time plus, if that makes sense. So something to think about here is, I don't think it's going to be too easy, and no one's going to really like spoon feed you how to do things, because a lot of the video tutorials and all that stuff, it's great, but at the end of the day, you got to learn how to basically build based on what you've learned. The video tutorials are just there to teach you concepts, but it's up to you to figure out what you want to do with it. Thank you. And you know what? I got to give a shout out to DJ Norris, one of my moderators. I got to figure out how to do moderation for YouTube channels, but at the same time, he might never be awake. But he gives a lot of great tips on my Discord channel, which I really appreciate. So thank you so much, DJ. How does Bootcamp compare? It's different. You're comparing apples and oranges. Coder Foundry is a immersive coding bootcamp school, while Bootcamp is a part-time coding bootcamp school. Yes, they did just release their self-paced program, but it wouldn't be fair to compare those two bootcamps just yet, because I'm sure there's a lot of things that they need to iron out. Their price is really cheap right now at $129 a month. So definitely feel free to take a look into that. People can still sign up for the Coder Foundry self-paced course. Yep, exactly. 10 days left. So definitely take a look into that. I really believe at that price, I mean, what is that? 129 divided by 12. I think it's like $8 or something. $11 a month. I just feel like that could just be something you could keep in the back of your pocket if you ever want to learn C#. Why not, right? Because the course is apparently always updating. A bunch of questionable 5 stars, like kind of like Amazon. Yeah, I mean, that's fake reviews is a real thing, and sometimes students are paid a lot of money to write fake reviews, or they're not paid, but maybe their curriculum is reduced so they could write not a fake review, but a real review, but maybe not guaranteed to actually be what their experience was actually like. So definitely something to think about. Using my Dogecoin to earnings to pay. Man, I wish I got into Dogecoin. But part of me, I just don't understand it. I don't understand Dogecoin. But this day and age, you don't have to understand to make a profit, right? Is a web developer same as full stack? I see front-end developer, back-end developer classes. So yeah, Yeah, it could. I mean, web developer does encompass a little bit of other things, such as WordPress and whatnot. But web developer is kind of, I would say, just kind of like this umbrella. And then full stack is kind of either the front end or back end developer. So I can understand the confusion, developer, engineer. I know some people have some philosophical differences between engineer and developer, but to me, it's kind of more or less all the same. So don't sweat too much about it. I get the confusion though. What's your experience with Hack Reactor and Galvanize? I don't really have too much experience, but let's take a look. Hack Reactor. I've always heard good things about Hack Reactor. It's kind of considered the I don't want to call it the IVs of boot camps, which kind of makes me cringe a little bit because it just sounds weird, right? But yep, founded in 2012. Wow, so they've been doing this for a while. 12-week immersive coding bootcamp. Blah, 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 blah. Job preparation is integrated into the curriculum. We'll build an online presence, resume, and LinkedIn profile by graduation. Hack Reactor places alumni in mid to senior. Yeah, I don't really like that statement right there because I don't even like this statement either. I mean, maybe they do. I don't know. But it's, to me, learning code for 3 months and then somehow becoming a mid to senior level developer sounds kind of hilarious in my mind. But at the same time, $105,000 is very possible considering where you're living, which is San Francisco. But look, 2017, that's 40 years ago. So it's crazy. I mean, who knows how legit this stat is? I'm not hating. I'm just trying to make sure to give you guys more context on how this can be misleading if someone's actually reading this. Of course, everything's 5 stars. Oh my goodness. What are those? $18,000. Holy moly. $18,000. $18,000. I mean, that's a lot of money. Woo. What kind of courses are there? So there's a full-time software engineering immersive, remote full-time software. I assume a lot of people are in this one now. All right. Is there a way I could filter by? I mean, the default sort will do. All right. I kind of like this one. They love all the curriculum, but the job assistance is not that good. I lost my job. I decided to give programming a shot. Hack Reactor was a major component of my life, from zero to an amazing job experience. The style of the SCI program suited my needs exactly, but I don't know if it would hold true for everyone. I had a basic handle on JavaScript. I'm starting to apply JavaScript to web development. The topic was so expansive that I did not know where to focus my time. Hack Reactor focused my attention on a very specific set of skills and concepts that were necessary. I'm fairly certain I could have self-taught myself with the majority of the raw development skills I learned at Hack Reactor. The really amazing part is the compact amount of time it all happened. The way the curriculum is structured just worked for me. You will be introduced to a new topic and get some. Yep, that makes sense. I mean, with coding boot camps, especially these immersive experiences, every day is gonna be an intense process. So that's one thing that I would have to kind of warn anyone that tries to do a coding boot camp, is you can't rest. I don't want to bust out a Gary Vee of you need to grind 12 hours a day or whatever, that kind of crap, or David Goggins. But with this one, the time is so short that the time of the boot camp is so short that it's just inevitable that you have to learn a lot and learn so much that it might feel overwhelming. Let's see. I like this. I haven't read this part, but I like the fact that it says accountability. Extremely strict attendance and guidelines at Hack Reactor. That makes sense. They make sure to keep you engaged from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., 6 days a week for 12 weeks straight. I definitely would not have been able to maintain that consistent schedule of trying to study on my own. See, that's the difference. Studying on your own, people get lazy, people get tired. You don't want to do it. But when you're studying at a coding bootcamp and you pay $18,000, you best believe that you're going to be working every day. Conservatively, I would estimate that what I learned in 12 weeks at Hack Reactor would have taken a minimum of 30 weeks of self-teaching. I think it would have taken more, to be honest. That's assuming I was able to stick it out for that whole time. Also, if I went to the self-taught route, I would not have a chance to interact with the subject matter experts and develop team-based development skills. Yep, that makes sense. Autonomy. Importance of developing autonomy. Yes. This program is really about giving you tools and the mindset to solve your problems yourself. You'll feel incredibly lost again in this program. The assignments you receive have some vague requirements to complete. I don't think Hack Reactor advertises much, if any, assistance with actually finding a job. So I think I think this is kind of why I think New Camp could be a little bit appealing at the price point, is because the two things that this person is talking about, where it's need to have autonomy and you need to have a community. But does that autonomy and community cost $17,000? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But if I could get something very similar or close to that kind of feeling with $2,000, then I think it could be worth it. And I'm not shilling New Camp. It's just something where I'm just comparing $2,000 to $17,000. But at the same time, maybe what New Camp might be lacking is maybe the curriculum itself. So who knows what the best approach is, and that's up to you to decide. So here, it's 100% on you to find a job after you graduate. Of course, they will give you plenty of tools and strategies to set you up for success in accomplishing your goals. You will get help building your resume and online presence, and that is the extent. A major benefit is access to massive network of law. I don't like this. I don't like the fact that they just to me, a coding bootcamp should be building relationships with companies, and they need to figure out a way to introduce graduates to companies that are looking for junior developers. Is that fair for coding bootcamps to do in 2021? I think so. It's still not a proven system yet. To me, coding bootcamps aren't necessarily a place where you learn how to code. It's you are trying to find a job through coding. And that's the biggest difference. Like some coding bootcamps, all they do is teach you how to code, and they go, okay, peace. Thanks for the $17,000. All right, last one. I only have one real gripe, which is that this is simultaneously one of the most expensive programs like this is out there, while also being one of the shortest. Yep, 12-week program, 18 grand. It really is a ton of material to cover in that amount of time, and I think it would also benefit to stretch out the program to give some. Yeah. I did a 12-week program as well, and it was intense, super, super intense. All right, let's catch up with the comments. Sorry, y'all. This is a really good review here. I think this person put a lot of thought and effort into it. Gave it 5 stars, but I think she was relatively honest about the part where the job assistance was not quite what she was hoping for. All right, let's see. Well, dang, I missed a lot. I apologize, guys. Rank, App Academy, Hack Reactor, and Full. I hear they're the big 3 for coding bootcamps. Yeah, I heard a lot. I heard about them. I heard about all 3 coding bootcamps. I haven't really done too much research about App Academy and Full Stack, but the little that I've done for App Academy, they're pretty selective on who they pick up, and that could be a bad and good thing, right? In a way, it could ensure better graduation rate, better job success rate, but at the same time, it's kind of elitism in some ways to only pick people that are the top of the top, and that sucks because I mean, ultimately, coding bootcamps, when they originally started, was to help people that didn't have your traditional computer science backgrounds to break into tech. How can I start my first my first job remote as a young person. I mean, at this right now, everything is working remotely, so I can't imagine them asking you to come into the office. And you got, I mean, I really wouldn't recommend any junior developer to work remotely because there is just so much benefit for being able to like tap a senior developer's shoulder and ask him for help or her for help because the developer sometimes they may be so focused on the code that they're not going to respond back to you for like 2-3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, and here you are just twiddling your thumbs or your fingers or whatever, not sure what to do, and you're just on Google and no one's responding back to you, and it sucks. So being able to just have that presence of being around the team is super important in my opinion. It's worrying how much bootcamps change from year. Do reviews really matter? I think reviews matter, but I really wish there were more honest reviews. Somewhere where, I don't know, it's just too easy to game, in my opinion, these reviews. And I feel a lot of the reviews that I find more valuable, maybe it's through Reddit or through other people's YouTube channel where they're actually showing you the struggle is real mindset versus just like these 5-star reviews that just are always doing awesome. And how does this really help me in some way, right? Like, it's really hard to tell, and especially as someone that's completely new, I wouldn't even really understand what the heck I'm reading here. So it's a tough one. Ooh, I'm behind. All right, let's catch up. Hack Reactor is 6 days a week, super intense for an immersive. Yeah, I mean, that's expected. It's a 12-week, it's a 6 days a week. So you have to go into class on Saturdays too. Man, that's kind of cool. And I'm very surprised. I wonder how the instructors feel about that. But I mean, it's 12 weeks. You have to put your students in very, very uncomfortable positions to learn that much in that short of a time. Lambda is 30K. Yeah. It's 30K depending on how much you make afterwards, from my understanding. So if you make a lot of money, if you make a lot of money coming out of Lambda school, then it's going to be 30K. And that's the cap. I did like 16-hour days when I went to Lambda 7 days a week. Yeah. How did you what do you do now, if you don't mind me asking, Ben? And thanks for coming on the stream. I really appreciate it. How much support does career service, and I'm not planning to getting a job? To me, that was at least back in 2015 when I went to coding bootcamp school. Career service was number one, and maybe times have changed in 2021 where they just can't dedicate as much attention to a student in that matter. And that's kind of why, in general, I haven't been so gung-ho about everyone should do a coding bootcamp. It's a lot of money, and it's 2021. That's 6 years since I did a coding bootcamp school. So I try to do a lot of research before with different types of coding bootcamps just to make sure I try to give the best advice that I can. But to me, the career service is super important, and I would highly recommend anybody that's considering a coding bootcamp school to ask whoever is in charge, how do you help me find a job after? What is the job career assistance after I finish the curriculum? If they just tell you, oh, we're gonna make you apply to jobs, do your resume, and the whole generic, we're gonna optimize your profile. No, you have to ask the hard question. It goes, okay, but do you have any connections established in this city where you can connect me to those employers in any way? Do you do intros? Those are the really important questions you want to ask. Of course, you don't want, not everything's going to be so spoon-fed to you, but it's good to know that the school is not just trying to take your money and teach you code. They're trying to really get you a job. So to me, asking those tough questions is really, really important. What up, KG? How you doing? Is it worth attending App Academy since they teach Ruby? Ooh, this is a tough question. When I went to a coding bootcamp, I was learning Ruby and Ruby on Rails in 2015 again. I don't know. I need to do a little bit more research, and I wish I could answer your question, but I don't want to be that guy that says Ruby is dead, because there are still jobs that exist with Ruby and Ruby on Rails, but I feel that not as many companies are as willing to create their projects or newer projects on Ruby and Ruby on Rails. They've been kind of more transitioning into the Golang, Node, even Java, C Sharp. So it's a tough one for me to say yes completely. But I mean, fundamentally, you're still going to be learning a lot of different things, and I think learning one language, sticking with one language, is better. But I, I'm not sure if there are Python coding boot camps, but I think Python could be a pretty interesting one, even if it is just for web development. I'm just not sure how many jobs there are for Python specifically for web development. I know there's a lot of data science jobs, but maybe not as many web development jobs like Django and whatnot. I agree. To me, course reports, kind of like Glassdoor, it's so hard to find. Yeah, I think so. To be honest, you have to. For me, if I was a new person trying to get into web development or thinking about attending a coding bootcamp school, I would just literally go on LinkedIn, search that coding bootcamp, and see who just recently graduated and ask them a bunch of questions. These reviews here, I don't think they're. I think some of them are great, but what I would, if you're gonna be doing these course report reviews, what I would do is I would discard all the 5-star ones, and I would discard all like maybe the 1-star ones, and try to find like the 3s and the 4s, because to me those are like more of the honest reviews in my opinion. And it's really hard because I don't think course report has a very good way to filter them that way. But when I see everything is a 5-star, then how is this really helping me? It doesn't tell me anything negative about the school. And I'm sure Hack Reactor is good, but at the same time, like there's no, it's not great. Every 4.71 reviews. I mean, sorry, 4.71 stars. That's just really tough to, like, if I saw this as a newbie, I'll just be like, oh, cool. This, I'll totally get a job after I finish this coding bootcamp, but there's no guarantees. Actually, I've been learning web dev for online for a year. No boot camps, just YouTube and doc. Hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. Everyone has their own journey, and everyone has their own way of learning how to code. And I'm never gonna be that type of person that says you shouldn't do it this way. I think you gotta do what's comfortable for you and what makes you, progress with your web dev journey. I think Codesmith and Hack Reactor are Monday to Friday, 9 to 9. How do you work at a coding bootcamp? Or have you just done a lot of research? I've heard that Codesmith was a pretty good coding bootcamp, and they're pretty selective as well. They are, I think they're originally based in LA, and then they opened up a school in New York as well. But I don't know if they are doing an online one. But yeah, there's a Los Angeles and a New York one. Of course, 4.9 stars. 4.9 stars. I mean, it is what it is. I was fortunate enough to find a job after finishing Lambda school. Lambda, currently doing dev. Oh, that's awesome. I'm really happy for you. I've kind of just been reading up on a lot of news lately with Lambda school, and I've heard some cost-cutting measures have been taking place with removal of TLs, and it's really been affecting a lot of the student progress. I'm trying to not be too negative, but at the same time, I want to do some research before I add too many comments on it. But it does feel as though that there's some growing pains that Lambda School is going through, which is kind of crazy because I think they're probably one of the most well-funded coding boot camps compared to all of them. Who knows what's going on there? But yeah, hopefully I could do more research. Maybe I'll talk to a recent graduate student, a recent student that's like either attending or that's that recently graduated. Yeah, I wish there were more boot camps for mobile, specifically Android. Yeah, they're it's a little difficult with Android and mobile development, in my opinion, because it's really hard to showcase your projects. And I don't know. I think web is always a great way to start off, and then you could always transition into mobile development later. So don't feel like just because you do web, you won't ever do mobile. You just need to know one coding language, and then you could just translate that to anything. I mean, not to kind of push back a little bit, but you should always feel like you can learn from someone. Don't ever feel like you're above that, because you should always, in my opinion, always code with the beginner's mentality, because as much as you know, someone's going to know more. And this is a kind of, I guess, more of a serious talk here. Like this kind of mindset of feeling like you're smarter than other people or whatever is always going to bite you in the butt at later in life, because it really does affect your attitude within your work environment. It really affects your just overall progress of why am I not progressing in my career. This I would highly recommend you to be a little bit more open to feedback, be a little bit more open to learn new things, because as much as you're able to learn on your own, and if that was your case, there's always going to be someone that can give you a little different insight. And it's not even a pride thing. If someone gives you that recommendation or whatnot that you haven't thought about, then cool, it's awesome. And just I like to just absorb knowledge regardless of who it comes from. So that's just my 2 cents. But hey, thank you. That one was so random. I was actually ready to go to sleep, but he hit me up and we just decided to do it. I had to take off my glasses, put on my contacts so I look presentable. And yeah, it was super, super fun. I'm glad you're on the stream too. I have greater than 6 years of account experience. And yeah, there's a lot of free resources out there. Free Code Camp, Udemy has some cheap courses. I mean, it's kind of word jargon at this point, but HTML, CSS, JavaScript, any type of Udemy course, Odin project. There's a lot of resources out there. Just use Google and you'll be able to find something. What programming languages are you using now? I am using a lot of JavaScript and TypeScript, and I think I'm going to get into a little bit of Java in the future, but we'll see. But I really like, I'm a JavaScript guy because I do a lot of front-end development. App Academy is 16-week course, teaches Ruby backend, but the 24-week. Interesting. Why did they split it up like that? Does that mean they have to have separate teachers too, right? With different type of domain knowledge? Is the 24-week course a data science course? Have you worked in PHP and WordPress? No, I haven't. And just never had to. If I was in a situation, I lie. I worked in PHP for like 2 weeks at my first job coming out of a coding bootcamp. And this is not me hating on PHP, but I had a really hard time with it. It might have been a mixture of me not still being really green to coding, and then also trying to figure out how PHP structure and format works. That was quite a bit of a hurdle to understand. If you could redo it again, would you go the self-taught route? I would do the coding bootcamp. And the reason why I do that is because I feel like my situation would have been the same. And for me, my personality is I can't commit everything when I have two things I need to do, right? And I can't spread myself thin. I get FOMO. I always want to relax. I want to hang out with friends. But in my situation, when I did a coding bootcamp school, I quit my job and I moved to New York City. I didn't have any friends there. I didn't know anybody there. And I did that intentionally because if I moved back to California and near my friends and every Friday or Saturday, of course I want to relax and just drink a beer or go out with my friends. But I wanted to put myself in a situation where I kind of forced myself that this 3 months are going to be the hardest 3 months of my life and 3 months plus more. And I'm going to see if this sticks. And if it doesn't, then at least I know I put myself in that kind of situation. But I'm human, right? And if I do a self-taught thing, then I get lazy during the week. Your motivation might be high sometimes, and there are definitely going to be lows. But having those accountability partners and whatnot is what really pushed me. But I don't know how virtual is. If it's an in-person one, most definitely I will still do a coding bootcamp school. I just the virtual one is a little tricky though. Would you shy away from fully remote coding? Yeah, so that's the I didn't even read that question, but I totally agree. It's a tricky one. I'm not sure. You really have to research, and I've tried to do a lot of research, but it hasn't been very clear to me um, the difference between the physical and the virtual one. Obviously, there is, right, because you're physically not there, but hopefully the quality doesn't go down. I think it might. I think it's inevitable that it is going to go down a little bit. And maybe if that is the case, maybe I wouldn't do virtual. Maybe I'll wait a little bit and just do a little bit more self-taught studying. And afterwards, if I feel like I need that push, I'll do a coding bootcamp school. Do you have a CS degree? No, I don't have a CS degree. I have a mechanical engineering one. I have a mechanical engineering degree, but it hasn't been too helpful in my software developer journey. How to network when you're self-taught. Yeah, so if you watch one of my videos, I have a video called Why You Should Go on Clubhouse. I think that one is pretty good in terms of connecting with recruiters. The second one is creating a blog. Go on meetup.com, and they've been doing a lot of virtual hangout meetups, which is pretty cool. So you could even connect with people not in the same geographical location as you. Lately, the Twitter space has been kind of progressively becoming more apparent in the Twitter platform. So Twitter space is kind of similar to Clubhouse, voice only discussions. And I think that's a good way to connect with developers in the community and whatnot. And dev.to, a lot of different things, Discord. But yeah, I would definitely look into those options. I wish I had an in-person bootcamp instead of online. It was supposed to be online, but COVID. So it was supposed to be online, or it was supposed to be in person? Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Hey, appreciate the subscribe. Sorry if I was a little harsh on you. Any stories you could share about mentoring a junior dev you worked with? Yeah, I think there's a lot of responsibilities as a senior developer or mid to senior level developer to make your junior developer feel comfortable and proud of whatever accomplishments he or she makes with their coding journey, right? But not everyone's gonna be like that. I was in a situation where I was super uncomfortable. This person would just rag on my code, delete everything, rewrite it himself, and not really explain to me why I made the mistakes that I did. And after experiencing that, I told myself I'm never going to be like that if I'm an experienced developer. And I'm kind of glad I went through that, because showing a sign of empathy and patience with a junior developer, you're only paving it forward. And I expect anybody that I mentor or like pair program with or whatever, I expect them to do the same exact thing to whoever they teach. Because when you're an experienced person and you're trying to teach some concepts, sometimes it really does feel as simple as saying the sky is blue, you know, and it's really hard to explain why the sky is blue. It's like, oh, because we're in the middle of the day, right? And then you start have to breaking it down. It's because during times between 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. the sun is out, and that's why the sky is blue and it's not raining, right? Like you could explain to English why the sky is blue, but there sometimes it's just you have to keep breaking it down. And a lot of times I would have to kind of explain these concepts from a coding perspective of why uh, things are the way they are. And what I like to do with my junior developers is I like to encourage them to articulate their code. Like, why are you doing this? Tell me why you're doing what you're doing. A second thing is I want when I mentor junior developers is I want them to eventually get out of that mindset of feeling like they're have this label of junior. Consider yourself a developer after you're able to build out your own features, you're confident in yourself. Don't always feel like you have to pigeonhole yourself with this label of a junior developer because it really, really does suck. So, like companies can take advantage of you considering they're gonna be like, oh, you only have a year experience or whatever. But if you're an all-star or a rock star within that first year because you just are really good at coding and you've done a lot of coding outside of work and you're just kind of showing your value, don't ever feel like you have to like pigeonhole yourself feeling like a junior developer. That's kind of a mixture of like imposter syndrome and not knowing your worth. Yeah, Lambda school has changed so much since I went. Even during my time there, I sensed a lot of shade. To me, Lambda has failed to deliver for me, overpromised, under-delivered, censorship. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's one of those weird schools where you can't help but look into it because there's so much drama behind it. And I don't know what it is. It's like they want me to research. And it. I don't really, it's crazy. I really feel that this kind of sentiment has been pretty prevalent especially within Lambda school. And I'm glad that a lot of people are talking about it because people should know. And if you ever want to share your story, Ben, with me, and maybe we could do like an interview with like for the sharing developer story stuff. It doesn't have to be like all negative, but it could just maybe you could just share your honest experience, and I think that would be cool because uh, I think people that are interested in Lambda or coding bootcamp, they see this appeal of, oh, I don't have to pay money to go to a coding bootcamp until I get a job, but they don't realize the implication of what an ISA really is. And oh man, it really breaks my heart. I saw this one tweet by someone recently. If I could find it, let's see. It's about a girl who, there it is. I'm going to share it right now. And I'll just zoom in a little bit. Says, I had been the biggest supporter of Lambda School, but I find it really disheartening that I'm being put on the hook for 30K when I'm not a software engineer. Did I miss something when they said don't pay anything until you're a software engineer? Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. It's just so ridiculous. I provided proof of my role and a statement from my manager, whoever they are, because I can't speak directly to them, has determined me being a tech support provider is the equivalent of a software engineer. If you're seeing this tweet from any interview/public appearances I've done where I mentioned Lambda School, there are other ways to get an SE role that don't include this headache and technicalities that will have you paying for a job you're not even performing. And it just goes on, and it really does break my heart when I see something like this because we're this. I mean, coding boot camps shouldn't be just stealing your money, right? Like they're supposed to provide you value, and when you see stuff like that, it's just crazy to me, man. Like $30,000, and they're not even a software engineer, and you're still on the hook for it. It's just crazy. I don't understand. Yeah, it's just crazy. How many projects should you build before, and where to find? I this is kind of something I stole from Coder Foundry. Is you have to build projects that are professional grade or that solves a professional or business problem. So what I mean by that is I think Coder Foundry always advertises this thing called the bug tracker. So imagine something like Jira or any type of way to manage your tickets to if you're like in a project, some kind of like financial app, maybe like a weather app is pretty cool too. So maybe around 2 to 3, I think is pretty nice to have. What's your go-to operating system in a pinch? Windows? Hey, Chris. Welcome to the stream, man. What is your go-to Windows or... I'm a Mac user. I have converted from the PC to Mac. Why only 2 weeks on your first job out of school? I might have missed something here, DKO. Do you think logic testing is better or JavaScript algorithm solving quiz is better for admission interest to coding? What do you think is better gauge if you will be a successful logic testing? I'm surprised they test you on JavaScript algorithms. Maybe the curriculums have, or maybe to get into a coding bootcamp has gotten a lot harder. But no, I think logic testing is a better way to gauge, because to me, software engineering isn't about how much you've memorized anything. It's about, here, I'll give you like 4 or 5 techniques. What you do with that is up to you. And when I say like techniques, it's like the coding equivalent of like, oh, I'll teach you a for each. I'll teach you a map with arrays. I'll teach you with strings. Maybe you can get the length of a string. But just knowing that doesn't really provide a lot of value. It's what you do with it that really matters, right? So I think for me, logic is a lot more applicable. And this is kind of why I really like coding, and the kind of why my brain kind of gravitates towards coding and solving problems, is because I actually don't memorize anything. The only thing I memorize are the tools to get things done, right? So you're just like, it's the experience of, oh, okay, in this situation, I'm going to use a filter. I don't really know how I'm going to use the filter, but I just kind of know I have to use this, right? I need to iterate through these array of objects, and I need to get the keys of these objects or whatever. So I just do like object.keys. And I'm not like memorizing that I had to do all of this process. I'm just memorizing little tidbit parts where I'm like, okay, I have this utility here, I have this utility here, and I could just keep moving on. I have a civil engineering degree. Looking to switch. Hey, welcome to the club. Happy to be here. Like Joe said, you're literally a gym. Appreciate it. I get a lot of different point of views from you, not only from programming, but things in life. True. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. This is the first stream where he's actually not on it. Maybe. Oh, shoot. No, he is on it. As a stay-at-home mom, I'm ready to start working, and I'm interested in front. I'm 40. Time is against me. Any advice for me to get my feet in the job market with an empty CV? Hey, don't ever feel like time is against you. I've hired junior developers around that age as well. So, and that's not, age is not a thing that you're not even legally allowed to ask, actually. So, a lot of probably internal pressure. Totally get it, but don't feel like that's going to be the thing that's stopping you. Obviously, stay at home mom is probably the most biggest responsibility that I probably will not understand at the moment, because I don't really have kids or anything like that. But to me, I think it's just about making it a priority. So is it a priority for you to learn front-end web development, and just allocating the appropriate time per day to do it? And I'm not talking about like 100 days of code. You have to code every day. Spend quality time learning how to code and building projects. So I would highly recommend doing some kind of Udemy course where, you spend a couple hours per day to building out a project. And then there are going to be moments where you kind of have to get out of this like tutorial hell and build a project on your own. So when I say spend quality time, sometimes you're going to spend 3-4 hours solving this really, really small, dumb bug, but that's okay. At least you know that you've kind of done it. And then the next day you could do something else. But that would be my recommendation. Obviously, CV, you got to update that as you go. And yeah, good luck. Tech Rally, are you an all-star or a rock star? I don't know. All-star? No, I'm a pleb. There you go. I really enjoyed your live show with the Pilgrim leading the way. Yeah, he was so funny. Oh, that was so good. He comes up with the best analogies. I'm like, I just can't come up with the same stuff that he does. I'm just gonna laugh at myself. Just followed you on Twitter. I really appreciate small tins. Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate it too. I mean, every person that that has subscribed so far and joined the Discord channel. I've tried my hardest to really be as active as I can because I really do appreciate everyone that subscribed to me. And I know my channel isn't the biggest channel, but I really feel like I have the one of the best subscribers to like Discord ratio. I think I have like about 100 people or plus on my Discord at 1.4k subs. So that's like around like a 10% subscription Discord subscription rate. So yeah, I have a really fun time in Discord, and it's really been good to getting to know like DGNT, DJ Norris. Those guys have really been MVPs in my Discord channel. I really appreciate the back and forth banter, and it doesn't always have to be about code, but maybe one day in the future, you know, we could all like meet up physically and then do some kind of like tech rally meetup somewhere. I think that would be really cool. Yeah, I think maybe I'm getting too ahead of myself on this one, but yeah. Sorry guys, is this like Tech Rally Discord Nightbot being annoying with this join our Discord? I could also disable this later next time. Maybe I'll do like every 30 minutes. Pair programming. Give an example. Muscle memory. Huh? Bro, I'm always in the show. Are you trying to stay quiet because maybe your kid is sleeping or whatnot? Wesley Snipes and Blades. He's the Asian Snipes, dude. If you guys ever want to know what DGNT stands for, let me know, and I'll let you know. Did their PM that turned into TL and canceled recently as well. Yeah, we could schedule something. Let's do it. I don't want to tell you because you've been part of it too. It's not for sure yet, but maybe starting from Spain, which is huge, not only for but also getting. Bro, that's awesome. That is awesome. Hey, I hope I hope you get it, man. Seriously, like I know you've kind of been you've been documenting your journey with me, and I really am happy for you on this one. Can you help this guy get a job? Because he's also looking too. I just like trolling DGNT. That's all. Being from Argentina, where economic situation is quite good and our currency, yeah. Any coding bootcamp schools you want me to take a look at again for the reviews? Although they are like everything is 4 and 5 stars. I mean, I'm not sure how much value that brings. Oh, what the heck? You just here? No worries. I'll show that one. My bad. Where is it? I can't find that. Well, I'll just read it. You said I just bombed an assessment. Feels bad, man. Yeah, dude. Sorry you had to go through that. Already? Just keep your live stream running so I could get those hours, right? No, it's okay. All good. I'm just trolling. Later, DJ Norris. It's been fun having you. What do you think the ratio for 1 second? You know what? I think I'm just gonna put on music because at this point I'm not even like share stop screen, share screen. Boom. Cool. What do you think the ratio is for web dev job offers and web dev? Is there oversupply of web developers? I think there might be an oversupply of junior web developers, but for experienced developers, it's really hard to find. It's really hard to find good developers because people are happy at their jobs, or you want to make sure the product that you're building is really good, right? So that's why sometimes even hiring experienced developers can be kind of hard because you want to make sure they're the right person. Yeah. So I think there is a little bit of an oversaturation of junior developers because companies are looking for people that can really make a high impact, but those people are really hard to find or they're really, really expensive. So that's my 2 cents. Which top three coding bootcamps are worth your time? I'm just gonna stop this music. Which top three? I will look at. Well, it really depends. I think Coda Foundry could be a good one, just because I think C# is pretty widespread around the United States. I think New Camp could be a cool offer as well if you're kind of coding on a budget. And then I've heard a lot of good things about Codesmith as well. But they're not necessarily like my top three and only three. I think it really depends on the type of curriculum you're looking for. Yo, I feel you, man. Yeah. Sorry the Nightbot was being so aggressive. But no, if it makes you feel better, I failed like 6-7 interviews before I landed my most recent job. So it happens to all of us. The assessments are a pain in the butt, but no pun intended. It really is tough, and you just gotta get lucky. I think luck is really part of the game, and that's what it kind of boils down to. It really does suck, though. It major feels for you, man. Hey, just pick yourself back up, and try again. Seriously, it's part of the game, man. I failed a lot of interviews, so I actually have like a little inbox in my Gmail account where it just says rejections, and it goes on to like 2 or 3 pages. uh it's just part of the game, so don't beat yourself over it. I would highly recommend you to maybe if it was just a complete assessment, then yeah, that maybe the feedback won't be as good. But if you do get rejected from other companies, it's always good to get feedback and understand what mistakes you might have made if they're willing to give it to you. As a web developer, are you making website pages? Can you explain what you do? Yeah, so web developer is a little bit of a generic term for it, but I'm a front-end software engineer or front-end developer, and I mostly build our internal tools at the moment to interact with an API, make sure the designs match the actual application and whatnot. There are other developers that kind of focus on the back end to make sure the data structure and the back end structure is scalable using, I don't know, different types of microservices and whatnot. But I think there's a different kind of web developer in that you just kind of build very like static site templates. Those that could also technically be a web developer, but generally the stuff that I do, there is like this kind of data layer aspect of it where it's like, how do we optimize our front end to make sure that the user is getting the best experience that they can, while the back end people are kind of just figuring out how to scale their database appropriately. That way, when users are interacting with their data on the front end, like how does all of that jazz work? But there is also that aspect of just like static site templates and whatnot. SaaS or Tailwind? I like SaaS, but at the same time, I haven't really used Tailwind, and it's because I never really need to use it. Coding assessments don't really prove your worth anyway. Just got to keep trying. Yeah. Some it's kind of the luck of the draw. Yeah. So it is what it is. I agree 100% with Tech Rally. I think it's 60% luck, 30% confidence, 10%. I think it's like 70% luck, 29% confidence, 1%. No, I'm kidding. If most code Krylus, is that on? Yeah, let's take a look. I actually never heard of this. Tokyo. Wow. How do you plan on taking this course? Do you live in Japan? Part-time 7-week intro to programming, foundations, part-time intro to programming, full-time 12-week software engineering course. Solve full stack. I don't know. GitHub, shout out to C. Chase your dream ferociously, build something you love, have a growth mindset, get gritty, be kind to others. Yeah, I mean, I love this here. Getting in wasn't easy, getting through it was much more difficult. What's the technology that they use? Let's see. I think someone mentioned it here. We've developed a solid full stack that needs to excel. We teach contrasting technologies, React, Vue, or REST, and GraphQL. So students are able to form independent, educated opinions about them. With our focus on meta learning, students are immersed in an environment that requires them to become autonomous problem solvers. On soft skills, we teach students. Okay. I mean, let's see what the reviews say. And just for context, guys, this is what I'm looking into. Once the main course began, we had daily lectures, projects, and weekly. As overall, I never felt like I didn't know what I was doing. GitHub and online presence. This, I may have missed this, where the things covered in the tuition. However, the bonus you get is that you get a really wholesome staff. Together, everyone built. In Japan, the nail that sticks out gets hammered down. My experience taught me that it's not necessarily bad to stick out. In fact, the people who stuck out drove me to stick out in my own way. It helped me reconcile. One collaborative muse inspired all of us with how we can do good with. Before I didn't have anything but some of these reviews are kind of old, but I think I like this coding bootcamp. Just kind of the general gist of what I'm looking at. If they're able to provide you with an opportunity to build tangible projects and kind of showcase those skills, I think that's the most important thing. And to your point about if they're the career service part is not as important. It seems like they've built a relatively good community where everyone's kind of like pushing each other to be better. And I think that's kind of what I really loved about my old coding boot camp, was that it really did feel like a legit community where I could just kind of hang out with these people and really just push each other when kind of times were getting a little tough. So yeah, I think this is kind of cool, but I feel like you might need to. This sounds like it's an in-person coding bootcamp school. So unless you're going to Japan, let me know. Mern, you could also learn Golang and then do like a front end React and maybe even like Postgres. I know a lot of companies use Postgres. So, but as a new developer, Mern, it might be a little bit kind of like the de facto, and then maybe you could even do like C# with SQL. There's just so many ways to cut the pie kind of thing of like being a web developer. It's just really, you got to, obviously you're asking me for my recommendation, but I think it's either you could stick with like C# and then either MySQL with C#, .NET 5 with MySQL or Postgres, or you could do the Mern, or you can do you could even do like not Mongo, Postgres, Express, React, and Node. Yeah, it really, yeah, like the database part can be kind of somewhat interchangeable in my opinion. So, do you think web dev is future proof job? Um, I think so, at least in this decade for now. But who knows with machine learning and AI internal tools? I mean, it's just stuff that my company uses internally, and we're like building out tools for them, so it makes our like internal customers' lives a little bit easier. Optimizes, like different types of experiences for our internal Amazon employees and whatnot. Oh shoot, that's awesome. I think so, but if it isn't, you can always take your programming skills anywhere else. Mhm. If you're talking about technology, I think you should look more on the companies you want to go in. But new hot ones are GraphQL and TypeScript. Yeah, those have been kind of in the up and up so far. GraphQL, TypeScript. I've had to start really adopting TypeScript in my coding journey. I was kind of hesitant about it, especially because I knew how much it could block me from actually building out features initially. But now I'm really, really used to it, and I actually kind of like using TypeScript. Crazy enough, but it just takes time. It takes time to adapt to new things. Pern or Mern? What stack would you learn right now if you're just starting out? I think Mern is easier to learn, but Pern might be a better long-term bet potentially. It's like Mongo's great and Postgres is great, but they kind of serve different purposes because Mongo is like there's no like tables or databases, right? It's just kind of free flowing. So it depends on the type of like application you're building. If you need that like relational databasing, then Postgres is great for that. But if you don't need that kind of intricacies, then maybe Mongo is the better choice. Future proof jobs. I don't know, man. I'm not really sure what the point of the question is here, but um, manager. You can be a manager somewhere. Technically, they're all future proof. Um, yeah, that's a sorry. I really don't know how to answer this one, but oh, that's so cool. I should really look into them. I didn't know that they were like a thing. All right, I'm gonna put on some music because maybe we'll kind of chill out on the coding bootcamp reviews unless someone asks for it. But for now, let's just put on some chill out music and enjoy our Friday. Yeah, Ronald, it seems like you've done a lot of research and you're really, really close to thinking about starting something. And I hopefully answer some of your questions. But if you have any more in depth ones, feel free to just kind of message us in the Discord channel. I'm pretty active there and I try to answer as many questions as I can. So, yeah, feel free to give us a ping in the Discord channel, and I'm sure me or someone else can help you with it. But that school does look pretty cool. It's kind of crazy. I never knew a school and they opened up a coding school in Japan. I think they need to fix their logo though. That blue, orange, green color combination is a little sus in my opinion. What does it mean to know a DB? Like if I put Postgres on my resume, I don't even know. So maybe you shouldn't put on your resume. I mean, it's a different type of language to manage databases, right? Like how is your data stored? Like Postgres, I know with Rails, you could use like Postgres or even you could honestly you could use MySQL. You just gotta stick with one. But yeah, it's like the whole like different. I haven't done too much backend in a long time. Like in a really long time, and when I did, I always just used Mongo because all of my projects don't really require so much like require so much relational databasing. So yeah, I might not be the best person to ask these kind of questions. I do a lot of front end these days. How does UI and UX handle the pass on to developer? Do you receive a Figma and you replicate? Yeah, it just varies from team to team. I think within Amazon, they're just like smaller subset of teams. So I guess it just really depends on the type of structure and type. Like if you have designers on your team, maybe you don't even have a designer. Who knows? But it really just depends on like your sub team. I've worked with, and maybe not at Amazon, but at previous jobs, I've worked with designers that use Figma and Sketch. As in, one person used Figma at one point, and then this other person we hired used Sketch. And I like both. I think I've started to really appreciate Figma more because I think Sketch is a little bit older. And yeah, it's been good so far. Why did you switch from backend to front end? So I didn't really switch from backend to front end. I switched from kind of doing full stack to front end. And the reason why I did that was because I just found a lot of enjoyment doing front end. And maybe some people will be on the camp of you should always be good at everything or be decent at something. But I made like a conscious choice to do front end development because I personally really enjoyed it. I was good at it. And there's just a lot of things about front end that there's still so much to learn that I just wanted to, that's kind of what I wanted to be my forte. But these days I'm learning a lot more about some, not necessarily like backend, but just like cloud computing a little bit more, like AWS and whatnot. So that's been really fun. I just like learning new things. But I think I went in this rabbit hole of really understanding front end well because I wanted to become a front end developer. But at the same time, I also wanted to be good at something I enjoy. So I think the enjoyment part was the main factor. So one of the things, actually, what's crazy is if you go on my video description on the bottom with like affiliate link stuff, I use hire.com, and I heard they're kind of selective about who they pick as well. But if you already have experience, then it's really cool because companies reach out to you and they kind of tell you what salary that they're going to be offering you if you get the job. So it kind of breaks down that whole like weird conversation of, oh, what are you looking for and all that stuff. And every time I started looking for a new job, I used that. But weirdly enough, I didn't get a job through Hired in my most recent one. but I did get a lot of interviews, which was good practice for me. And just as just disclaimer, that is an affiliate, not affiliate link, but it's a referral link. So I do get paid out if you do get a job through it. But feel free to check it out. I personally like it a lot, and I used it every time. But I don't know how selective they are these days. I made my account a long time ago, and I was able to get in. But who knows in 2020 or 2021 how they decide who gets in and who doesn't. I have a MySQL certificate from does that give me leverage? Because I still certificate in what? Oh, MySQL certificate. So one thing I'll say, and I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Olamide, is the certificates are always going to be nice to have, and it's cool, but I think at the end of the day, you gotta somehow, number one, like show your presence, show your work. Because a certificate proves nothing to me. Like, how am I supposed to trust you based on the certificate that you're a good developer or whatever? If you can't showcase your skills, then that's gonna be a problem, right? So, and even if you do get an interview, now the certificate isn't gonna help you solve the interview problems, right? So you gotta really, really, you can't rely on a piece of paper to justify getting interviews, justify getting the job. Like this field is literally one of those fields where they're just gonna test you and make sure you know what you're doing. So you can't. Yeah, it's kind of cutthroat, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news with that, but sometimes you have to show that you could do it, right? It sounds so simple, but you have to show that you can code in whatever. Like maybe you're more focused on DB and backend stuff. You have to show that you can do it. It really is like the showing. It's really like the showing business, right? We have to show that we can do it. We have to show that we're worth our money. So, what should I learn to stand out from any advanced topics, though? I think the projects, man. Your projects really need to shine here, and yeah, I think the projects will be the super helpful part. Just making sure that the type of work that you're doing is quality and the output. Because a lot of times recruiters, they're not gonna be like, oh wow, like you know about higher order components and all that stuff. They're just gonna be like, oh cool, like this person has a really cool project, and it's kind of awesome that they're doing what they're doing. Yeah, so I think that's kind of what I would recommend to stand out. Maybe, I mean, you can do a little bit of like leak code and algorithms, and doing stuff like that could really help you stand out too, being in a sense of during the interview process. But maybe on that initial just impression, I would say making sure your projects really do have like a very clean look to it and whatnot. Any course that you tried for learning, or how did you go about studying that made it click? So crazy enough, I really didn't know too much JavaScript coming out of my bootcamp. I was mostly doing Ruby and Ruby on Rails, and very, very little JavaScript, or very, very little like CoffeeScript for that matter. I learned a lot of JavaScript on the job actually, and then I took a React course on Udemy, the Stephen Grider course, back in the day. And that really helped me a lot become a better React developer. But then I went backwards again and just started using Google to search a bunch of different JavaScript concepts. I bought a lot of the You Don't Know JS books, because at that time I felt very comfortable in JavaScript to understand, okay, now let's deep dive and figure out what the heck is JavaScript at a very, very low level. So that's kind of been my journey with JavaScript. I think there are a lot of good courses out there. I'll recommend you to just take a look. Maybe even you. I know Brad Traversy has a lot of like crash courses and whatnot, so maybe you should take a look at those. Your favorite composition? Yeah. So I mean, I think like long time ago it was all about like inheritance and whatnot, but I really like functional programming, composition. Maybe it's just because I live in like JavaScript land these days, so I don't really like. Yeah, it hasn't really. inheritance, it has its place, but yeah, I've worked on an application where it was inheritance hell, and I really couldn't figure out. You had to go through like 6 or 7 layers to figure out. Oh, so this is the method that they were using, and it is tough. It is tough. But I really like the functional programming these days. I'm a huge advocate of that. Gotcha. Sketch really falls behind. It lacks a lot of features that Figma already have, and last but not least, they are McConkey, which may be on large corporations that have budget isn't a hassle, but on a startup perspective, you can't assure max for everyone. So, are you saying that Sketch doesn't work on Macs? Oh, interesting. I mean, Sketch worked fine for me on Mac. I'm not sure why it didn't, but yeah, I really like Figma. I mean, I'm not a designer, so I don't really care, to be honest. Not to sound like a rude person, but just show me the designs and I'll do it. That's just that's the non-designer part of me. I'm a front-end developer, but I will give you feedback on what's like possible and what kind of doesn't look right. But yeah, whatever gets the job done is important. No problem. Is it a good idea to contact offering to be an intern for free, since I don't know much yet? That wouldn't be the first thing I would say. I would say, hi, I'm interested in this role that you have available. Would you be able to look at my profile? Hopefully you have a profile to share, and my resume and CV. It's like, why are you offering free service without even asking if and you potentially could get paid, right? So, I mean, when you come off saying free and whatnot, the only people that generally will say yes are the ones that are kind of predatory, I would assume. So try to come from like that professional perspective of, hey, I have the experience, I have the work. Please, like, would you be open to having a discussion so we could see if I would be a good fit? Holy moly, it's been an hour and 30 minutes. Crazy. Oh my god. Yo, actually one of my good friends, or not my good friends, but one of the people I've been coaching got a job. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy for him. That's amazing. Oh, PC doesn't work on Sketch. Interesting. Gotta head out. When I come back, I better see 1.6. Hopefully. You'll see 2K. Dude, it was so much fun. I could literally talk for hours with that guy. It's hilarious. He's a good guy. He's a really good guy. And if you haven't been, I mean, I could only assume if you're on my channel that you're already on his channel. But if you aren't on Coding Phase's channel, make sure to go on Coding Phase. I keep trying to say codingphase.com. Maybe I've been listening to a lot of his live streams, but yeah, go to Coding Phase's channel, subscribe to him, go to his Billy Ray Dev channel as well. He's dropping a lot of gems on that channel. It's up and coming, and probably something I'm going to be competing with in terms of subscribers. But really, I really like his channel, both of his channels, because he provides a lot of value, especially for junior and aspiring developers. And the reason why I like his channel is because he levels with you. And that's what I try to do as well with my channel, is I can't give you advice comfortably. I can't comfortably give you advice about what I did, because what I did is might not work in 2021. You gotta change it up because times change, right? Like 2015, I just learned Ruby on Rails, and that's it, with like CoffeeScript. Imagine if I just told everyone in my channel to just learn Ruby on Rails, and you'll be perfectly fine. Nothing against Ruby on Rails, but it's just basically crapping on JavaScript, it's crapping on front-end development. Like, my 2015 advice would be horrible if I used it right now. And one thing I do like is that it's doing your research, understanding the market, and trying to get people jobs. Because to me, the most important thing that I would say is you want to get your first position, and then after that, it's going to be so much easier. But that first position is so hard. So a lot of his advice about doing the jobs that maybe no one wants, it may not be sexy. I agree. You should take it if you can, because it's like an opportunity, right? It's an opportunity to get your feet wet and potentially exponentially raise your salary afterwards. So that's why I really like his channel. Definitely subscribe to his Billy Ray Dev channel, and I'm already gonna assume you are subscribed to his Coding Phase channel. But yeah. Yeah, so I don't really make static websites. It's all of the stuff that I do is really dynamic. And I also work on front end, like performance optimizations, Webpack bundling, all of that jazz. Nothing wrong with static websites, though. I think there's definitely a time and a place for it. How long were you mentoring him for? I was mentoring Coding Phase for about 20. I'm kidding. I mean, mentoring for about 2 years. And he was actually working in the same company as I was before. So that was awesome. Someone got blocked. Let's see what he got blocked for. Huh. Later, dude. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. Exactly. And that's the important part. And I don't know if you saw my video with React, Vue, Angular. And I actually kind of put my foot down a little bit and I say, hey, I would recommend React right now, because that's kind of what the jobs, that's where the job market is at the moment, React. And yeah, it's cool that you want to learn Svelte, and I really like Svelte, but no one's offering a job for Svelte. No one's offering a job for Dino.js. It's, yeah, like they're getting funding, cool, but you need to gain traction. And I think there was this other framework called like Apollo. It was getting a little bit of traction, but people were like, yeah, Apollo's gonna be the next big thing. And that's why I think as like even YouTubers, we need to be a little bit careful, or like coding YouTubers, we need to be more careful about the type of advice we're giving, because sometimes it might not be coming from the right place. Like what if I just want to make a course on Dino and then charge out and then say, hey everyone, Dino's the next big thing. I have a course out for $59.99, and then it's like, okay, cool. I can't get a job as a Dino developer. Why did you recommend this? Yeah, they have they're fun to talk to, but definitely get that similar type of vibe. And what it is though. I really like talking to both of them. Yeah. I got to know that you got a Fang job as a developer from Coding Phase. I want to ask if web dev jobs are really available there, because I thought there were plenty of web devs there. Yes, there is web dev jobs available there. And I'll just keep it simple, just as that. Yes, there is. I mean, everything's kind of done on the web. I mean, it is what it is. Facts, the market. Yep. I completely agree. But at the same time, there are some legacy stuff that does exist, and yeah, like it sucks to try to code in that kind of like older languages. I agree, but when you're first starting off, I don't think you have that privilege to to kind of choose whatever you want to do, you kind of have to kind of start from the, that Drake song, like starting from the bottom, now I'm here. It really is true. You got to start from somewhere. If you're struggling to find a job, like say it's been a year, 2, 3, 4 years, and you're just not getting anything, but you had opportunities to work at these smaller companies or like languages that are a little bit more outdated, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot by not taking those opportunities. Literally just update your LinkedIn with that new job. You could put software engineer at company XYZ. And while you're getting paid doing whatever, PHP, you could still learn on the side. No one's stopping you from learning. Can't get at that point you just kind of you only have yourself to blame at that point if you're not progressing in your career. And that's the one thing that I need to do a better job about kind of showing in my videos, is that I've only been able to get to where I am because I've put in the work. I put in a lot of work to get to where I am. And I would love to be like, oh, happy go lucky, and show you that I'm successful because I don't know, like became a software developer. But there's just a lot of hours where I had to grind, and yeah, maybe I don't share that part as much, but it really is tough. It really is tough. And there's also a lot of moments outside of work where on Friday nights I was studying till, even after I got a job, I was working outside of work, because I wasn't happy with my skill set. I wasn't happy with my salary. I wasn't happy with my situation. But the only person that can really make that change is you. How much are you willing to put the sacrifice in to get yourself to that level to justify those pay increases? How much are you willing to put in to, become that senior level developer? How much are you willing to put in to justify, like commanding the room about what technologies to use? That all comes with experience. You just have to get better. And it's not even about money, honestly. It's really not even about money. It's the money comes with your skill set. It really comes with your skill set. As long as your skill set is improving, the money will come. And that's just a straight fact, period. But if you're already thinking about money before the skill set, then you're never gonna get the skill set to get the money. It's like this cyclical loop, right? So it's really tough, man. And that's the part of the it's really tough because the recommendations I try to give is, like put in the hard work. But I don't think we live in an age where everyone has no patience to put in the work. Like they want to be a software developer 2 days ago. They want to be a software developer yesterday, but none of them actually put in the work. And you see their projects, you're like, okay, did you like consider using like a template? Did you consider using Bootstrap templates or something? Or I asked them a simple question like, how do you fetch an API? It's one of those things where I'm just like, this should come naturally to you at a certain point, right? I'm not expecting, if you're just starting off, to know these things. But if you're at a point where you have a job and then you're interviewing somewhere else and you can't do those things, then what are you doing at work? Like, you're treating work like a 9 to 5 and that's it. And I think why I'm so passionate about this is because actually you have to enjoy this. Otherwise, it's just going to be another job, right? Like, why did you get into software development in the first place? Why did you want to leave your old job and get into software development? Is it purely a money play? I mean, and there's nothing wrong with the money play, but if that is if that's your goal, then like some people just fall out of love with coding and then you move on to something else. I know so many people that make a lot of money in finance and they hate their jobs. But, at the same time, like with coding, you have this opportunity to get this right blend of doing something what you love to do, which is like solving problems and also get paid. And that's like a win-win. But some people are so focused on money, and like maybe that's the coding bootcamp issue too. It's like, graduate from a 3-month program and become a 100K developer. It's like, dude, why are you telling them that? there are levels to this game, and some people just think that they deserve to be at the top, which is so I don't know. Sorry, I went on this little rant here, but hopefully it kind of made sense. Yeah, maybe I need to look into that. Oh, maybe I'll get that 3-minute clip. I'm more of a late night person because in the mornings I have to just get myself ready for work. So I like to do more like physical exercise and work out from that matter. Yeah, nobody ever shows all the crying, all the setbacks, only their success, which is why success seems so easy to achieve. I agree. Yeah, it's when I moved to New York, it was in March or April, and I didn't know anybody, and I really experienced snow for the first time, in a sense of I had to see snow every single day. I didn't have the right shoes, I didn't have any family near me, and it was kind of miserable, man. And especially the 3-month coding bootcamp. I think 3-month coding bootcamps, they're good and bad. They're good in a sense that it's only 3 months, but it's bad that you're cramming so much information. So you just get like super emotional about so many things. And my school would do this things called Feelings Friday, where everyone would just like just throw out their dirty laundry of how they felt that week. And it was crazy the type of stuff people were sharing, because this is a stressful time. And yeah, it was there was some people were crying, there were setbacks. There were times where I wanted to give up too. Not gonna lie, there were times where I wanted to give up. Like, is this really what I want to do with my life? But you just gotta like be able to kind of get through those hurdles. And if my story is anything, it's about how someone that's not like I wouldn't say I'm the most talented person, right? But here I am, and it just takes a little bit of work. It takes a lot of work. Mix of little, lot, whatever, but it takes work to get to here. So I've been a developer for 6 years, and there's still so much to learn, and there's still so many things I don't know, and that's okay. But like, I'm not as stressed as I am now about it. But when I was a junior or just starting off, these fundamental things are just a must-have to know, and you can't just expect to get a job just because I want a job. There's a lot of things I want in life. I want to be a billionaire, but millionaire too, whatever. But nothing is given. I mean, you're kind of more or less working on the same thing, right? But you don't need React to build static websites. You could use React to make React is just a framework, dude. You could just like build everything in JavaScript, vanilla JavaScript as well. It's just, how do you fetch APIs? How do you organize your data sets and manage your data sets? React is really good for managing state and data in the front end. So maybe there are moments where you don't have to make requests to the API and just use like a cache version on the front end. So you don't have to keep like blasting your API unnecessarily at moments. So React is just a framework. I mean, you could do everything I just said in JavaScript, and you could create your own framework. It's literally just JavaScript, and it's like someone just put JavaScript code and structured it very nicely that allows other people to write code more easily, right? So that's just what a framework is. Out of all the YouTubers out there, I've never heard any of them saying learning code was a bad idea. They all seem better off when they used to be. That's because you only see the success stories, right? Myself included. But I know a lot of people that have failed with this software developer journey, and not everyone's cut out to be a software developer. I think with coding, you'll have every opportunity to become one. Every opportunity, free or not free. But not everyone's meant to be a software engineer. Some people just don't want to sit in front of a computer all day trying to solve this problem that is very complex, very hard, and takes hours to figure out. I've seen people slam their desk because the code was so difficult and not understandable and whatnot, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but in my opinion, I feel like, dude, it's just code. You'll figure it out. And yeah, some people just aren't meant to be coders, and maybe you just don't see those stories. So that's kind of why I feel like I always want to bring kind of more of a realistic perspective to coding. It's because I think people see these like stories where someone became a developer in like 2 months, or someone became a developer and they lucked out. And I'm always happy for those people, but that shouldn't be the norm. Some people, it takes years to become one, and that's okay. That's okay. But if our standard of what is normal is based on based on people that are anomalies, then we're always gonna feel like we're not good enough, and that shouldn't be the case. Yeah, I totally agree. Like, you have to enjoy this. It's too stressful. Not it's such a stressful job in some ways, but it's also the most rewarding. And I like to describe it like solving this never-ending Rubik's cube. How do I? One day you're gonna figure it out, and then someone's gonna be like, "All right, so we've changed like 4 or 5 different parameters to this, and how would you do this now?" I'm like, "Crap, dude, you got me here. You got me now. Now I need to put on my thinking cap and figure this out." And there's just so many different ways to solve this problem, and that's kind of what a life of coder is. Yeah, please keep me up to date. I mean, let us know in the Discord in case you know earlier than later. Why did you choose New? So this was kind of like a 2-part thing. One of them was I wanted to know what it's like living in New York, and number 2, the Flatiron School, which was my coding bootcamp, was there. And yeah, like I heard really good things about the school at the time, and I personally, there weren't too many bootcamps, so actually, I guess there's a third thing. The third thing was I just knew I get FOMO, and I would want to party on the weekends or hang out with my friends, but I needed to really study. So I just put myself in this kind of spot where maybe I felt kind of this misery where I didn't have anyone around me, and all I could do was code. And I just literally eat, sleep, breathe code. Yep. That's kind of why I moved to New York, and now I've kind of stayed. I really love New York now. So yeah, New York is my home. What's the longest amount of code you've ever written to implement that you thought was very simple? I don't really know like lines of code, but something I thought was simple would take a day. It took like a week and a half, 2 weeks. That was probably when I was kind of first starting off too. I just, you want to be showing to your employer that you can solve things really quickly, and I don't need a lot of wiggle room. But as you get more experience in software development, you start to add like that buffer just in case something goes wrong, or you want to add more buffer to make sure that the feature you're actually building is legit and kind of QA checked off or whatever. So yeah, that one was probably my toughest one, where I said I would take like 2 days or a day, and it took me like 2 weeks basically. That was great. Yeah, so I'm probably gonna head out soon, but it was so fun hanging out with you guys. I think I'm probably gonna hang out for like another 10 minutes, if that's cool. But if you have any questions, let me know. I think the coding bootcamp part is kind of done. But yeah, I'm always free to answer questions. Thank you for the 21 people that are watching. I really appreciate it. Friday night, let's have fun. Yeah, hopefully you like it. I mean, I've always been kind of scared of doing live streams, but slowly but surely, I think I'm getting a little bit better at it. A little bit, just keeping it relaxed, keeping it honest, and yeah, keeping it chill. Yeah, if you haven't seen the interview with me and Coding Phase, go on his channel. We did like a really late night live stream interview. That was super fun. I love talking to people, so it just makes it so much easier. Love talking to you guys as well. Yeah, definitely. I'll definitely enjoy the weekend. It's it was a long week, friend. It was a long week, said. It was, but it's fun. It's fun. I really can't complain. This is a position that I know a lot of people would I don't want to say die for, but would love to have. So I'm not going to complain about this. This is just all part of the game. And hopefully, you know, this is motivation for anybody that's on the stream, that you can really just, as long as you, I keep giving the same advice about putting in the work, but really is true. I don't like to brag about the stuff I've accomplished, because I don't think I did anything special. It's just more along the lines of, yeah, just putting in the work. I hope you consider making videos about it. What would you like to know about internships? I don't really know too much, because I kind of got into software development with quote unquote experience out of a coding bootcamp school. So maybe I could do a little bit of research, but let me know what you would like to know about it. Yeah, no problem. So yeah, I did live in Texas for about 3 years. I was not a software developer. I was in the semiconductor industry, doing like chips for your phones. Yeah, I was an engineer there, but it literally felt like I don't know. It was not for me. I wasn't learning anything at all. But I mean, the pay was decent, and I was just kind of living essentially. But I don't know if I could have done that for 20, 30, 40 years. I just knew I had to get out, and that's when I kind of discovered coding. I found coding on YouTube, actually, and this was before even like traversing media existed. It was this guy named the New Boston. I was learning how to code through his YouTube tutorials using Eclipse and Android Studio. Moved like a green ball from here to here, and then moved it back to here. And I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. I can't believe I could actually write code and make it do stuff. And I just knew. That's when I got hooked, honestly. And I was like, oh my god, it's so cool to see instant gratification of seeing code turn into actual product. And I knew I had to change my careers. That's all it took. Literally moving a green ball from this position to this position. Can you maybe, yeah. These live streams are pretty impromptu, and I am a little bit busier. But if you do want to see portfolio streams, I would go on Coding Phase's channel. He does a lot of those, and I am not the best yet at it. So I would love to do it in the future, and maybe that's something I'll include. Yeah, hopefully it was helpful. Will you be taking the... I do have his course, and I do plan on taking it. Maybe I'll document it as well. I know... also, for anybody, the 18 people that are here, please follow Coding After 30. He has a really awesome channel, and he's a huge supporter of Coder Foundry as well. And I think if I could share his channel right now, share screen. We have a little rivalry going with the number of subscribers, but it's a healthy competition, I would say. It's nothing malicious or anything, but yeah, definitely follow his channel. He gives a lot of good advice, and I think he's a really good resource to have on YouTube, because he gives off the similar vibe as I do in terms of, you don't have to be the best developer. You just have to be lucky and get that job. And a lot of his stuff is like, don't get that imposter syndrome. I think his most recent videos, let's see, learn to code and working as a web developer. Should you do freelance or get a web development job? Coding after 30, weekly tips on starting a new career and learning to code. Definitely check out his channel. He's a really, really awesome channel. I like it. I like his channel a lot. So yeah, that's one. And also, if you're interested in coding boot camps, actually Don the Developer is another good one. He does a lot of like interviews and whatnot. He got 10 people watching. I think he's a really cool resource to also follow. I'm gonna just give him a little. But yeah, check out those two channels. I think they're really good. Don the Developer and Coding After 30. Would you say the projects that you get out of finishing a coding bootcamp to put on your resume mostly why you paid to go to? Yes, but you have to make sure the people that are teaching you and forcing you to make these projects are doing it correctly, right? I really don't like those coding boot camps that just like, oh yeah, build whatever you want. Like sometimes people don't know what to build because they need that assistance, right? Like, what are the projects that will help me get a job, right? And I think the ones that really do stand out in terms of a coding boot camps are the ones that are saying, hey, we've been through the gauntlet before, and we can give you the recommendation of what projects will stick and help you get the job. But some coding boot camps, I noticed, they don't really care. They're just like, yeah, if you want to build like a mountain climbing app, go for it. If you want to build like a swimming pool app, go for it. It's like, if you're paying like 15 to 17 or $18,000, sometimes I think you want to be told and given information on what you need to do to be successful. So yeah, I mean, it's a very just intense accountability program if you think about it, but you also have great instructors as part of it. Yeah. Hopefully that helped. All right. All right. Broad Trippin is still here. Appreciate ya. Ronald, thank you for so many questions. I really it really kept the conversation going, because sometimes when I'm just sitting here by myself, I don't know what to do besides just keep it going like this with my nose. But no, really great questions, and I hope it was helpful for you on deciding what you want to do. Yeah. And for the rest of y'all, if you have any questions, like my Discord channel is open. If you want to ask any questions, feel free to do so there. But other than that, yeah, I guess I'll leave you guys. Have a good Friday. I'm going to be dropping a video on Tuesday, so be on the lookout for that. I think it's going to be kind of funny, but who knows? And hopefully, you guys all of you that are trying to get developer jobs or just trying to break into tech, your time will come for sure. I'll see you guys later. Tech Rally out.